President Donald Trump has received an expanded set of potential military options, targeting Iran's nuclear and missile infrastructure, including the possibility of U.S. raids inside Iran, but he has not yet authorized any action as of late January 2026. This development comes amid heightened U.S.-Iran tensions fueled by Tehran's nuclear advancements, support for proxy groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis, and the regime's crackdown on recent domestic protests. U.S. officials describe these options as a refined menu presented by the Pentagon in recent days, building on earlier deliberations during Iran's protest wave when Trump considered, but held off on strikes after Tehran paused executions and allies urged restraint. The military strategies now under review go well beyond threats alone. They include precision airstrikes on hardened nuclear facilities untouched during last June's 12-day Israel-Iran war, which could set back uranium enrichment by years. Other targets encompass missile production sites and storage depots to degrade Iran's ability to threaten Israel or U.S. bases in the region. More aggressive proposals involve strikes on internal security forces and leadership figures to sow chaos, potentially pressuring or enabling the ouster of 86-year-old Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Covert U.S. commando raids stand out as a high-risk option. Special forces trained for years could infiltrate to sabotage deeply buried nuclear components or high-value assets, blending with cyber operations and air support for maximum effect without a full-scale invasion. Trump's core demands to Iran remain unchanged: completely dismantle the nuclear program and stop killing protesters. He reiterated this on Thursday, telling reporters, number 1, no nuclear, and number 2, stop killing protesters. Via social media, he warned, military ready with speed and violence if necessary. Time running out. Come to the table. White House spokesperson Anna Kelly emphasized, President Trump hopes force isn't needed, but Iran must deal before it's too late. No final decision has been made. Trump favors diplomacy but views the military buildup as leverage to force negotiations on nukes, missiles, proxies like Hamas and the Houthis, and broader regional stability. Supporting this posture, the U.S. has surged assets to the Middle East, warships, fighter jets, bombers, and thousands of troops to deter aggression and position for rapid execution of any plan. A senior U.S. official told Israel's Channel 12 that a strike directive could come soon, once these forces are fully in place. Israel strongly backs joint action, particularly on rebuilt ballistic missiles, while sharing Trump's view that limited strikes won't topple the regime, but could buy time on key threats. Trump's personal stake adds edge. Federal prosecutors revealed last year that Iranian operatives plotted his assassination before the election. Iran, weakened by protests and economic woes, can't match U.S. might but threatens retaliation via proxies against U.S. bases, Israel, or Gulf oil routes. Tehran confirms diplomatic contacts but insists on no submission, with Supreme Leader Khamenei rejecting deals under duress. Analysts warn strikes might unify Iranians against the West or reignite unrest, but limited action risks escalation without clear strategic ends like regime change. Europe pushes talks to avert war. Arab states quietly support pressure but dread chaos. Oil prices jumped 3% on rumors. Broader context ties to Trump's aggressive foreign policy reboot. Early January saw U.S. withdrawals from international bodies he deems anti-American. His Davos speech touted economic wins, tax cuts on tips and overtime, mortgage bond buys to slash rates while eyeing Iran as a legacy test. Domestically, a Senate spending bill funds these moves amid his agency overhaul push. Reuters notes strikes could aim to inspire protests by hitting security apparatus, per sources. Bloomberg highlights goal ambiguity: deter, negotiate, or upend the regime. Potential paths forward: Iran capitulates for sanctions relief, calibrated strikes delay programs, or miscalculation sparks wider war. Trump, commanding the strongest military globally, holds the cards, but treads carefully to avoid quagmire. As Channel 12 reports, focus likely stays on physical assets over leadership for now. Developments evolve. RV watch White House briefings and Trump's post for signals. This saga underscores his peace through strength doctrine: threats first, action if ignored. President Donald Trump, now in his second term as U.S. president, has been briefed on an expanded range of military options against Iran's nuclear and missile programs, including daring U.S. raids deep inside Iranian territory, but as of January 31, 2026, he has not greenlit any strikes. This escalation in planning follows weeks of intense U.S.-Iran friction, sparked by Tehran's rapid nuclear advances, its arming of proxies like Hezbollah, Hamas, and Yemen's Houthis, and brutal crackdowns on widespread domestic protests that rocked the regime late last year. Just 2 weeks ago, amid those protests, Trump mulled airstrikes on nuclear sites and militia bases, but held back after Iran halted a wave of executions, and key allies including Israel and Arab states pleaded for restraint to avoid broader chaos. Pentagon planners have now delivered a detailed menu of strategies, far more granular than initial proposals. At the core are precision airstrikes using stealth bombers and bunker busters on fortified nuclear facilities like Fordo and Natanz sites largely unscathed. In last June's brief 12-day Israel-Iran war that could roll back Iran's uranium enrichment by 2 to 5 years. Parallel attacks would target missile factories, underground storage bunkers, and launch sites, crippling Tehran's ability to rain ballistic threats on Israel. U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria, or Gulf shipping lanes. More provocative ideas hit Iran's internal security apparatus. The Revolutionary Guard's besieged forces and intelligence units blamed for protest massacres to erode regime control and potentially ignite fresh uprisings. The most audacious option, special forces raids by U.S. Delta Force or SEAL teams, honed for years in mock assaults on Iranian targets. These commandos could slip in via helicopter or submarine, plant explosives on deeply buried centrifuges, command centers, or even leadership bunkers, then exfiltrate under air cover, all paired with cyber hacks to blind defenses. Officials describe hybrid packages too: airstrikes plus cyber, or phased hit starting with warnings. Leadership decapitation looms large, aiming to destabilize 86-year-old Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, whose ouster might fracture the regime. Though successors remain unpredictable and could rally hardliners, Israel's pushing hard for U.S. help restriking rebuilt missile arrays, per intel showing rapid reconstitution post-June. Trump's red lines are blunt: Iran must fully scrap its nuclear weapons path, no enrichment at all, and end the protester bloodshed. Number 1, no nuclear. Number 2, stop killing protesters, he told reporters Thursday. His Truth Social post Wednesday blared, military ready with speed and violence if necessary. Time running out, come to the table. White House spokesperson Anna Kelly added, President Trump hopes force isn't needed, but Iran must negotiate before it's too late. No decision yet. He leans diplomatic but masses leverage. A senior U.S. official told Israel's Channel 12 a strike order could drop soon, once extra carriers, B-2 bombers, F-35 squadrons, and 5,000 troops fully deploy across the Middle East. Iran's cornered economy in free fall from sanctions. Protests simmering despite crackdowns. Military outmatched. Tehran threatens proxy swarms on U.S. assets, drones on Bahrain, rockets from Iraq militias. Houthi barrages on Saudi oil or Strait of Hormuz blockades spiking global energy prices. Supreme Leader Khamenei vows no submission, but back-channel talks continue. Confirmed by Trump himself. Analysts split. Strikes might fracture the regime by hobbling security forces, per Reuters sources aiming to inspire protests, or backfire by unifying nationalists. Limited action delays threats without toppling Mullah's. Trump and Israel agree on that calculus, prioritizing nukes and missiles over full overthrow. Global ripples intensify. Europe dispatches envoys for frantic de-escalation talks. Saudi Arabia and UAE whisper support but brace for fallout. Russia and China blast U.S. aggression. Oil futures surge 3 to 5% on strike rumors, hitting $85 barrel. Domestically, this folds into Trump's reboot. January executive orders yanked U.S. from UN bodies and treaties he calls sovereignty thieves. His Davos pitch bragged deficit cuts, no tax on tips laws, and mortgage maneuvers slashing rates to 4%. Now Iran tests his peace through strength. Senate's bipartisan spending package passed yesterday quietly funds the buildup amid his federal axe wielding. Personal grudge fuels Trump last year, and why prosecutors exposed Iranian plots to assassinate him pre-election. Trace to guard intel. Bloomberg notes fuzzy endgames deter? Force a deal curbing missiles, proxies for sanctions ease, or regime tipping point. Washington Institute warns means in search of ends, risking quagmire without clear wins. Iran international cites Western sources deeming strikes virtually certain. Pass ahead. Tehran folds, offering verifiable nuclear curbs and proxy stand-downs. Trump opts surgical hits to buy years, or sparks fly into regional firestorm. Hourly updates pour in White House briefings. Trump's posts, CENTCOM moves. A Politico January 13th piece question option depth pre-build-up. But assets now overflow. This brinkmanship defines Trump's 2026. Bold ultimatums, massive deterrence, decisive edge. Watch for signals carrier strikes, B-50 to flyovers, or sudden Tehran outreach. The clock ticks.